So, hello and welcome. My name is Carl and you're watching Just the Way It Is. This is episode 9 and today we're talking about the BMW R1250R, the Roadster. For my regular viewers and subscribers, I need to give you a little bit of history and a bit of an update. So, as we stand here filming this today, we're in the third week of March 2022. I really had no idea that I was going to create a YouTube channel back in October of 2021 when I had my Multistrada serviced and when I had the road test of the 3 R1250Rs. So my first experience with the R1250R, and that was in the first week of October, and that was a base version. It didn't have cruise control, it didn't have any of the special packs that you can get on your BMWs. It was a fairly standard base R1250R. But the thing that surprised me the most was the motor. The engine is absolutely incredible. I was really surprised in a positive way, and I came away thinking, if I ever change my Multistrada, which I'm currently thinking of doing, I'm not sure what to do. Back then I thought, I need to have another road test and find out more about it. So then we moved forward about a week, so the second week of October, and I've got a very friendly local BMW dealer. And I approached them, I told them what I had, I showed them my Multistrada, I told them I had a road test of a base version, and could I have a road test, a long road test over a weekend of a new bike. And they were really great. They were really helpful, and they said yes, no problems. So I got a bike for 3 days, and they gave me a mileage limit of 300 kilometers. I tried to get 500, but we ended up agreeing on 300 kilometers. And it was incredible. It was the exclusive. I'll put a picture up. And just bear in mind, in 2021, there were some changes. So the 1250R was originally launched in October of 2018. And this is the first update in 2021 where BMW made some changes. And there are really just 3 main changes. The original one, 2018 through to 2021, that was a Euro 4 bike. And you could turn off the ABS if you were into your motard riding and locking up your rear wheel, you could turn the ABS off. But with Euro 5, you're no longer allowed to do this. And so the Euro 5 compliant bikes, which came out in 2021, disabled this function, so you can't turn the ABS off. BMW also included something called engine torque control, which really means when you're shifting down the gearbox fast, you're braking hard for corner entry, the rear wheel doesn't lock up quite as much as it did on the earlier bikes. So what are the other changes, or how can you tell which bike, when you're looking at one to buy, which is which? Well, the white, red and blue one was originally called the HP. I'll put a picture up. And in 2021, BMW renamed this the Sport. I'll put a picture up. And although they look very similar, this is how you determine the HP is the Euro 4 and the Sport is the Euro 5. So this exclusive version I had for the whole weekend, 300 kilometers. So during that long weekend of 3 days, I had so much fun. I had a grin on my face every time I went out on the bike. Every kilometer I had a smile. Apart from, after approximately an hour, I would get uncomfortable. And after an hour and 15 minutes, I was ready to get off the bike. Now, this is no good for someone like me. This is not going to be a weekend or a weekday sunny evening blast in the countryside bike. It needs to do some touring too. And when I go on tour, I'm on tour. So we're talking a minimum of 8-hour days on the bike, quite often quite longer than that. So I needed to find out if I could change the seats. So what I ended up doing at the end of this 3-day period, I gave the bike back, but I knew I had to find a bike for a longer period of time, spend more time on the seat and try and find out if I could find some solutions. Now, BMW do make 4 different seats. The standard seat is quite low, it's 760 millimeters. I'll put a picture up and I'll put some part numbers up if you've got questions about seat heights. The second seat is a 790 millimeter seat. Again, I'll put some pictures up for you so that you can see. And the third one is the 820 millimeter seat. And those first 3 seats, they look sort of similar. There's the same style to them. But the 4th seat, which is the tallest one, which is 840 millimeters, is called the Sport, and it looks very different. The first 3 seats look like they have a concave dish in the seat, but I found it wasn't enough for my coccyx and it puts pressure on. But the sport seat is a very distinct curve like this, front, back, there's a curve this way, and it was very uncomfortable. I didn't like it at all. I'll put a picture up. So at the end of the weekend with the exclusive, I had a lovely time, but I ended up with more questions than I started with. So I had to find another bike to spend more time on. So the third bike I had was a 1250R Sport 2021 version, and I had that for 4 weeks and I did 1,300 kilometers, and it was brilliant. I had an awful lot of fun. Every time I went for a ride, I had a smile on my face. The engine is the star of the show. It's a shame I couldn't ultimately get comfortable. I tried so many things. We've just talked about the 4 seats that BMW do. I tried 2 Wunderlich seats. I tried lowering the foot pegs. I tried raising the bars. I tried all sorts of things. I'll put some screenshots up so you can have a look and some part numbers. But the bike itself is phenomenal. There's so many good things. Where to start? What is brilliant is the downshift blipper. Any circumstance, any condition, the higher the RPM before you start to change down, the smoother it is, but that is just so much fun. When you come to your favourite series of bends, you can just blip, blip, blip all the way down through the gearbox, and it is a dream to use. The rest of the electronics package is really well implemented. The traction control is very subtle, very gentle. I'm going to presume they took it off of the S1000RR. It really is very, very good. The brakes are phenomenal. You're not going to be lacking any kind of brake performance. I had 3 bikes. The bike in the middle, which was the exclusive, did have the BMW branded Hayes brakes. Now, ridden in isolation, you would never tell there was any difference between the Brembos and the Hayes brakes. But having ridden 2 other bikes with Brembos, there is a bit of a difference. In that early braking from no brakes to 50% of maximum braking effort, there's no difference. You can't feel any difference. But once you start braking later and deeper into the turns, you do have a little bit more control with the Brembo calipers. But having said that, would I be disappointed if I ended up buying one with Hayes brakes? Probably not. They are superb. They're really, really good. So in terms of electronics, the implementation of the electronic packages is seamless. It's lovely. It's really easy to use. The dashboard is crisp and clear. Everything's easy to get to. I personally like a bike with plenty of buttons so that you get muscle memory and you know where all the buttons are and you haven't got to go into menu systems and navigate. I much prefer it when there's a few more buttons to make my life easier. Certainly with changing the suspension mode, changing the riding mode, switching your heated grips on, I'm very pleased that it was nice and easy to use. In terms of handling dynamics, it's lovely. If you can make this bike fit your body style, which unfortunately I couldn't do, you're going to have a whale of a time. The weight is quite high, 239 kilos, so it's not a light bike, but because that weight is so low, it's really noticeable. I've got, like everybody has, a favourite set of curves, bends, whether it's mountain passes or canyons, and with my Multistrada, I'm fairly confident with what I can do and what I can't do. So it took me a good week to get up to speed with the R1250R, but once I got there, I found that I could hustle along at a fair old pace without any trouble. It really is that good. So in terms of positives for the bike, there's just so many. I could be here 15 minutes talking about all the positive things about the Roadster. The only negative really is ground clearance. If you are a sporty rider, you're going to get into ground clearance problems. If you have the Sport or the early HP, which has the core screen sport dashboard, so you can look at your lean angles, 45 degrees left, 45 degrees right, your peg scrape. And once you start scraping your pegs on the Roadster, you have to think very carefully about your cylinders because they're not that far away, probably 10 or 12 millimeters. So you're going to run into, you just got to be very careful. Other than ground clearance, I didn't have any problems. It was just wonderful. It was a great place to be. So although ultimately for me the bike didn't work out, I couldn't get comfortable. Even after trying the foot pegs and the bar risers and the seats, I had to say no and I had to walk away, which was a real shame. But the bike itself, if it fits you and you can get comfortable and it suits the type of riding style that you have and the sort of riding you're going to do, it is an amazing bike. It is beautifully finished. The attention to detail is fantastic. The menu systems are great. Go and find one for a road test. So obviously after 3 road tests, I can't tell you what the bike's like to live with on a daily basis in terms of ownership through the winter, through the summer, what it's like to service, what it's like to maintain. But I got a little bit of a solution. There is a guy called Ricky Tang, and Ricky, thank you very much for agreeing for me to mention your channel here today. If you look at the description below, I've put a link to his channel. Ricky's done dozens and dozens of videos about his R1250R. So Ricky's a lovely guy. He's a really friendly, approachable chap. You can go to his channel, leave him comments, send him an email if you've got questions and you want to know more about you making your own decision about buying an R1250R. I suggest you go and have a look. So what's coming up next? Well, you know I've started a Multistrada series, so the Multistrada series will continue to go on. I've got a lot more to do with the Multistrada, but I think what I'm going to do, I've had so much fun with this 1250 motor, I'm going to speak to BMW and see if they'll let me test the rest of the bikes in the 1250 range. So I might be back soon with some more reviews. My name is Carl, you've been watching Just the Way It Is, and thank you very much.